while asserting his idealistic position, and finally asserting God in order to defend spirituality. Well, I think this is an extension of what he has said. Well, anyway, now he's ready, I feel. Now over to Professor Das for the lecture.
Namaskar to all of you. Actually, I reached late from Nayagar, which is 120 kilometers away from Puri, so I just reached now. Sorry for inconvenience caused to you. Anyway, sorry for the late, but the interesting thing is that the topic is very beautiful. We have a very beautiful topic that we are going to reach the climax of empiricism, and we shall have a better claim for skepticism. We means I am speaking on behalf of David Hume. So the joining of empiricism started from Locke, who said that mind is a tabula rasa, mind is an empty chamber. But he made a contradiction that at one hand he is saying that mind is a tabula rasa, mind is an empty chamber, there is nothing in the mind. But in the course of his philosophy, he said that mind has everything. Mind has everything means mind makes association of ideas, mind makes complex ideas. All these things, therefore, also he inferred the source of the sensations, perceptions. That perceptions are there means there must be an object as the source of perception. So logically, Locke claimed that if attributes are there, then there must be the source of the attributes, and that is substance. So matter exists as the supporting substratum of the attributes. Then Berkeley developed that philosophy by saying to be is to be perceived. If we claim existence, then the basic condition is that must be perceived. So in that way, Berkeley refuted the existence of matter, because matter is not perceived. We perceive only the qualities. We perceive only the qualities, and that is the only secondary qualities. No primary qualities are there. Locke made a distinction between primary qualities and secondary qualities, and in support of primary qualities, Locke tried to establish the existence of matter, but Berkeley refuted the distinction and claimed that there is no matter. So this is a very simple thing that we all know. It's a charger. But Hume gave justice to the principle that to be is to be perceived. Berkeley started this principle, but Berkeley could not give justice to this principle. To be is to be perceived. Berkeley applied this principle in case of matter, but Berkeley did not apply that principle in case of mind and God. Berkeley said that if there are perceptions, there must be the substance of all. There must be a perceiver, and that human mind is the perceiver. And if human mind fails to perceive, then there is a divine perceiver. So, Berkeley tried to establish empiricism, but reached in spiritualism. He concluded his philosophy in spiritualism, that there is a God as the divine perceiver, the source of all perception, the ultimate perceiver. First of all, if there is perception, there must be, if there is thinking, there must be a thinker, as Descartes said. Similarly, Berkeley said, if there is perception, there is perception, there must be a perceiver. So mind is the perceiver, human mind is the perceiver. And when human mind fails to perceive something, then that is perceived by God. So this is a compromise in philosophy, and many Western philosophers, they have tried to compromise in philosophy because of the fear of Christian theology. They try to satisfy the authority of church, and they can't speak anything against religion. So in course of their joining in philosophical discourse, they try to establish the existence of God. Many philosophers have done this. Descartes is also one example, but Spinoza did not do that. Leibniz did that, and then Locke and Berkeley did that, but Hume dared to stick to the principle of philosophy, because philosophy is a free pursuit of wisdom. A philosopher should be free from all types of pressure. Philosopher should have free thinking. It is a free pursuit of wisdom. If you don't say, that's all right. If you say something, say freely. This is the nature of this is the basic condition, the first qualification of a philosopher. To be a professor is very easy. To be a lecturer is very easy. To be a religious person is very easy. But when we are speaking of a philosopher, we should have a free mind. That whatever we say, we have to justify that to the end. So Berkeley introduced the principle to be is to be perceived, but it is David Hume who really implemented this principle. To be is to be perceived. If this criterion will be taken seriously in a justified way, then no matter, no mind, no God. Because as matter is not perceived, so mind is also not perceived. And so God is not perceived. If we say there is perception, there is only perception. If we claim the perceiver is not perceived. The divine perceiver is not perceived. So the existence of the perceiver, the existence of God, it is logically implied from the act of perceiving. And exactly that was done by John Locke. So what is the contribution of Berkeley? Berkeley refuted Locke's materialism, but committed idealism. Refuted matter, committed idealism, misapplying the very principle which was introduced by himself. If I am introducing a principle, I am the first person to justify that principle. That is the very honest approach of a ruler, of a king, of an administrator, and of a philosopher. If we apply, if we believe in a principle, then we have to justify that to the end. So to be is to be perceived. This is a very strong principle advocated by Berkeley, but Berkeley failed to implement that principle in case of mind and God. So Hume followed the principle of Locke and Berkeley, but he reached at the climax. His suggestion is that don't stop on the way. Don't stop on the way. If you are marching, if you are going on a particular direction with a principle, don't stop on the way. As matter is refuted, so mind can be refuted, and God can be refuted. This is the fundamental principle of a Humanian philosophy. Hume's philosophy basically is that he refuted matter, refuted mind, refuted God only because they are not perceived. They are not the object of our perception. So he found the problem. He found the problem. Now we shall see Locke made a distinction between primary qualities and secondary qualities. Berkeley rejected primary qualities and accepted only secondary qualities. So this is a development. Now David Hume is rejecting the idea itself, that no idea without impression. So if we try to build a building, we have to make the foundation very strong. So how can we build a philosophical system? Only because we have to construct that system with some fundamental principles. So Locke's philosophy is very practical. Locke is an empiricist in the true sense. Locke is examining that where is the idea? What is the idea? Is it idea or the impression? Hume says there is no such idea. Ideas are copies of our impressions. We have only impressions. And what is the source of such impressions? As Locke said, object is the source of all sensations or perceptions. And Berkeley rejected that and accepted mind is the source of thinking. If mind is the source of perception, mind is the thinker, mind is the perceiver. David Hume says that there is only sensation. Only sensation. If we claim the source, if we claim any substratum, then that is only our imagination. That is only our imagination. We see something, speak something. So this is the duplicate behavior of a philosopher. Whatever you see, you speak that. If you see something and speak something, then that is your philosophy. That is your speculation. That is your imagination. What do you see? You are acquainted with only sensations. You have only sensations. And or in other words, if we take it very seriously, we can say only impressions. Only impressions are there. We have some impressions. And out of that impressions, we imagine the ideas. For example, I see something, I see the table, so that is my, I am getting some impressions, but when I close the eye, I can have the idea of the table. So what is that in my mind after closing my eye? So that is not rooted in perception, that is rooted in our memory. So here all the philosophers, all empiricist philosophers, Locke, Berkeley, Hume, they have applied psychological method. As Descartes, Spinoza and Leibniz, all rationalist philosophers generally, they apply the mathematical method, geometrical method, logical method. Empiricist philosophers apply the psychological method. So this is a psychology is not mind. There is also a difference according to empiricist philosophers, that psychology is a process. So this is a psychological tendency of every man to see the succession of the discrete events. All the sensations are discrete, all impressions are discrete, but as they regularly take place and we experience the regularity of their presence, we make them associated. So one of the psychological processes, we are acquainted with making association. Whatever we see regularly, we try to associate that. So that is a human habit. That is human psychology. That is human tendency. If you repeatedly see something, then we try to connect the discrete impressions. So this is a tendency. This is a psychology. This is the psychology of a human being. And if there are two things. Something happens earlier to something. Something happens after something. So if X takes place before Y, and if Y comes after X, accidentally, they accidentally take place before or after. X comes before Y, Y comes after X. From that, human mind or human being imagines that if X regularly comes before Y and if Y comes regularly after X, there must be a necessary connection, causal connection between X and Y. So this is the problem. Out of that, we believe in the law of causation. Out of that, we believe that there is uniformity of nature. The necessary connection, nothing is necessary according to Hume. So Hume says there are two types of propositions. One is analytic proposition and the other is synthetic proposition. Analytic proposition speaks nothing because the predicate repeats the subject. So all mathematical knowledge, all deductive knowledge, all knowledge that is based upon logic, even geometry, they are analytical. So any analytical statement that can only be necessary because they speak nothing. So they are necessary because the predicate repeats the subject. Whatever is said in the subject, exactly that is repeated in the predicate. In that sense, it is necessary. For example, if we say triangle has three angles, so here having three angles and being a triangle, they are equal in meaning. And we speak that is necessary. So, but it is not the matter of fact. So there are two possibilities in human experience. Either we gain knowledge from the relation of ideas, number one, or from the matter of fact. Two possibilities. There is no third way. All the ways of knowing, all the types of human epistemology are basically based upon these two methods. Either there are a relation of ideas, so under this comes mathematics, geometry, logic, like that, and other is the matter of fact. Hume says, if we believe in the relation between ideas or mathematics or geometry, they are necessary, but they are not objective. They have nothing to do with the fact of human life or the fact of society, or they don't have factual content. Factually they are zero. Factually they are void. they are beautiful only in deduction. That from one idea we can deduce another idea, and the premise and the conclusion, they are same in meaning. So analytic propositions are necessary, but they speak nothing. They do not give us any new information. So we should keep such statements, such discipline apart from philosophical discussion, because they are not practically useful for human living, for society. That is a different discipline. But on that, all the rationalist philosophers have developed their philosophy. Empiricist philosophers reject this discipline, but that is the discipline on which the entire rationalism has been developed. Descartes is a mathematician, Spinoza has followed geometry, Leibniz is a great mathematician. All these rationalist philosophers, they have followed the method of intuition, method of deduction, all the mathematical principles. But Hume says, what is the contribution of mathematics? What is the contribution of geometry? What is the contribution of deduction? It is only a game. That is the game that how can you deduce the same thing from the same conclusion from the premise. That means whatever you are saying in the conclusion, that is already in the premise in another form. And the premise and the conclusion, they are same. If they are not same, that is, they are not mathematical. They are not necessary. They are not logical. If the conclusion does not necessarily follow, what is deduction? In deduction, we say the conclusion necessarily follows from the premise according to the logical rules. This definition defines the limit of a deduction. If the conclusion necessarily follows from the premise, then there is no new information because it necessarily follows. That means whatever is said in the premise, that is exactly said in the conclusion, and it cannot differ from the premise. If it differs, it is not deduction. So Hume says, we may speak of deduction, or we may speak of we speak of induction also. They are only inference. So when we are inferring something, then that is not true knowledge, because on that basis we infer that there is substance, which is the substratum of the qualities. In deduction we infer logically, and in induction we infer factually. This crow is black, that crow is black, that crow is black, that crow is black, that crow is black. And we stop somewhere because we cannot enumerate all examples. We cannot take all instances. We take some examples and maintain a gap and then give a general conclusion. How can we give a general conclusion? Only because by inference. So we just infer the conclusion. So Hume says, you are free to infer. If you admit that you are inferring, then we have no problem. But you can say that is your knowledge. Inference cannot be knowledge. Everybody is free to infer. You infer whatever you can infer. But that is not knowledge. If you are examining some instances, you shall infer a general conclusion having an inductive leap between observed and unobserved. And if you say that that is my inference, and if you say that is my knowledge, then we have no problem. We are not satisfied with this type of knowledge. Inference is not knowledge. Because of that inference, we infer the existence of matter. Because of that inference, with existence of a perceiver as the mind, and also we infer the existence of God. And you are free to infer hundreds of such things. but come to the reality. Philosophy is a subject of reality. Philosophy is not there. Philosophy should not waste its time in speculating in speculating what is not real. You are imagining. You see something and you speak of something which is not seen by you. So you say only that what you can see. So to be is to be perceived. To which you are acquainted. You are acquainted with only the impressions. Speak that only. Speak that only. Don't try to philosophize it. Speak that only. So, if we believe in analytic proposition, then that is a game of reasoning. That is a game of reasoning that speaks nothing. Number one. If you believe in the other way, if you believe in synthetic proposition, that can't give you certainty. That is always probable. The language of science, the philosophy of science never speaks of truth. There is no such word truth in science. Science speaks of probability. So truth is neither established by science and philosophy. Philosophy speculates about truth. Therefore, Immanuel Kant said, Dr. David Hume, Immanuel Kant will come and he will reconcile both empiricism and rationalism. He will accept both the sources. But in spite of the best effort of synthesizing empiricism and rationalism, Kant also says that human mind or human knowledge is limited to only the phenomenal world. That means the truth, the reality, the noumena, the totality cannot be assessed by human epistemology. That means if you believe in synthetic proposition, if you believe in science, you can't reach at truth. And if you believe in analytic proposition, even if they claim that their statements are necessary, they are useless. They are useless because they are not objective. So their claim for truth is not truth. Their claim for truth is only a play of reasoning. Therefore, in deduction, we can make a valid conclusion, a valid argument from the false propositions. That means deduction is not concerned with the truth and falsity. Even if all the propositions are false, the argument may be valid. So deduction is concerned with the validity and invalidity of your argument. Validity and invalidity of your reasoning ability. It has nothing to do with truth and falsity, number one. If you believe in synthetic proposition, it can't speak of truth. It always speaks of the probability. Therefore, the conclusion of induction, inductive method, inductive logic, that is always probable. We speak of a general statement, but we can't give guarantee. There is no certainty about the conclusion that yes, all men are mortal. Though they are giving two grounds of induction, law of uniform nature and law of causation, these grounds are also challenged by David Hume. If you give strength to inductive method, that if you try to justify how do you jump from some to all through law of uniform nature and law of causation, David Hume says these two principles are the real culprits, that the law of causation and uniformity of nature, these are human imaginations. How can you say that this is cause and that is effect? It is only a psychological compulsion. Psychological compulsion to ascertain a necessary connection between two events which may take place together and may not take place together. Now we shall come to our practical life. How David Hume is justified. You see, what happens in our practical life? I am giving an example. We are viewing a cinema. In cinema, what happens? There is a succession of pictures. There is a succession of pictures. So for example, now also it is getting recorded. Now I am moving my hand. In this movement, you see, this is a process. Every time there is a point, and there is next point. Therefore, there is a motion. And in every beat of motion, there is the existence of my hand, which is moving through different steps. But what actually we claim, we ignore that successive development. We say that my hand moves. So what is the difference between the video and still picture? Still picture gives us the reality. When we take the still picture, suppose at the time of taking the snap, my hand remains this way. So that is the reality. But in a video, what happens? This happens. That means this reality has been removed through successive movements, and we say, oh, this is what is really happening in the screen. So the still picture speaks of that exhibits the exact situation, the reality of our position. Very all pictures may be picturized, may be photographed. That means every momentous existence, as Buddha also said that everything is momentary. Every momentous existence is real, and they follow the succession. They follow in a successive way. There is a series of such movements, but we imagine the complete. We forget the succession and we take the totality. So exactly that happens in the sense when we see something, we get only the impressions. We are only acquainted with impressions. I am giving another example. What is human personality? How can you predict a person? How can we say that Mr. Das is like this or Dr. Rao is like this? We can't give a complete description of anybody's personality, because if the human personality is the combination of so many feelings, so many likes, dislikes, his temperament, his moods, all these things taken together, that is the real personality. We see a man in fragments. We see a man in a particular place and time. Now, I took 10 minutes time to start this program, to speak because I was not ready. So when I was not ready, that was also my personality. That was also my existence. At that time, I was very busy. How to start, how to make the laptop ready. Now I am speaking. So this is one personality. And after that, I shall have another personality. Similarly, we all have our personal affairs, which we cannot share with others. My personal affair means my personal thoughts. There may be some ugly thoughts, many thoughts. Suppose I am giving very practical example. Suppose I am hungry. I have visited somebody's house. I have visited to my guests. I am hungry, but I am telling lie. So that means my real personality, my real existence is not exposed to my guests. But I know that I am really hungry and they are offering me food, but I know I am all right. I am not hungry. Out of the courtesy, I am doing that. Therefore, we cannot assess human being as that he is like this or like this. That he is a very good person. We can't say. If you are saying that is our limitation, that means we are in illusion. We are illusion of a personality. How can we test it? How can we test it? If we predict somebody's behavior in a particular situation, you call him at midnight, his response will be different. That means he is different in midnight. He does not expect your call at midnight. So human mind, human personality is a configuration of different moods. So whenever we see a person, we see him with a particular mood. But that person, if his moods change, then he becomes a different person. That means we are different persons in different moments. We have momentary personality. We don't have a fixed personality. Those who say that they have fixed personalities, they are telling lie. This is the claim of strong empiricist philosophers. Believe in that. Believe in what you are. That means we are through our sensations, we are through our moods, we are through our emotions, we are through our beliefs. This is the fact. Because we have 5 sense organs, because we are basically animals, this is also a reality that we forget. We claim that we are rational human beings. We never claim that we are animals. You go to the stage and begin your speech with a statement that I am Mr. Animal. I am a very good animal. No. Everybody will say, I am a very good man. I am a very good personality. They forget that they are animals, though they undergo the animal propensities. Because I am an animal, I always claim that I am an animal. Because I have hunger, I have fear, sex. All these things are animal qualities. I am. We can't avoid that. So, if one sensation is vibrant because of the demand of our sensuous elements, which are very much real with us, We are built of that. So we cannot avoid that. I am giving another example. When I was born, I was a little child. I was a little child. So how could I become such a big means in size, a big person? How can my weight increase? So out of what my body increased? The food I have taken, the food I have eaten, the food, how my mind has been nurtured, the education, the experience. So my mind has been matured. I have better experience, and I have a better body. I have accumulated that subsequently after my birth out of the outer sources. So if there is a change in my body and mind in course of time during the period of 40 years or 50 years or 60 years, that means there is an ever-changing process. Every moment, this is the declaration of science. Every moment our cells are changing. In every 6 months, you have a different body. You are a different person by cell, because your cells are getting changed. Every time it is changed. Every moment it is changing. Therefore, very rightly, Lord Buddha said that everything exists for a moment. Everything exists for a moment. He does not deny existence. He admits existence, but that existence is only momentary. And that momentary existence is not useless. Even if it exists for a moment, it has a causal potency to produce or to effect the next moment. And when the next moment is produced, the causal factor is removed. So there is a succession. In this way, there is a succession. And in that way, I have grown up to an adult and I have become old. Similarly, Hume admitted Berkeley, because Berkeley thought in this way when he refuted matter. But Hume added to the philosophy of Berkeley exactly as the perceptions are discrete, perception of object are discrete, so also our ideas are also discrete. They are also separate. We can't have abstract idea. We can't have general idea. Ideas are also discrete. I have one idea now. After 5 minutes, I may think that life is meaningless and I may do something. That means I may, it happens in society, in our society. I have seen that fellow in the morning, in the market, but at the evening I heard that he is no more. The ideas are changing. And the peculiar thing is that we have a tendency to associate the ideas. And that tendency is the psychological tendency. So actually, as there is no matter, similarly there is no mind. Fleeting personality, we say fleeting personality in the negative sense, but fleeting personality is our reality. Our personality does not have a base because we are subject to change. We pretend to be an ideal personality with the coverage of our modesty. But what we really are, yes, I have hunger, I have anger, I have some complex. So we should not have, when we shall discuss David Hume's ethics, it is very beautiful. Many people think that if David Hume has reached the climax of empiricism, his ethics should be very bad. Actually, it is not. David Hume does not believe in an ideal society. David Hume believes in a real society. David Hume says, I don't dream of an ideal society. Ideal society is a myth. It is nowhere. Let us believe in a real society. Real society means we are all real. If we believe in our real existence, momentary existence, our moods, our instincts, our emotions, then we can claim ourselves as real persons. We are really something, but we pretend to be something else. In our workplace, we have inferiority complex, we have superiority complex. If somebody is superior in quality, he has superiority complex. If he has a superiority complex, he is not real. If somebody has inferiority complex, he is not real. If you have that complex, please admit it. If you admit it, if you examine it, then you can rectify it. But you continue your complexity and you are hiding your personality. Your real personality is hidden. Therefore, it is very beautifully said by Professor Udanand Rai that who is a gentleman? A gentleman is one who can be trusted in darkness, where nobody is the witness. There is no need of any certificate. By instinct you should be good. By sensation you should be good. By impression you should be good. Personally you should be good. Individually you should be good. Then society will come. So a good society, an ideal society, can be built by real individuals, not false individuals, not ideal individuals. So Manur be a man. Be a man means at least you know your propensities. At least you know the factors that hinder you in your real progress. So we should admit that we are limited in our knowledge, in our power, and we should admit that we have some limitations. We should admit that. Immanuel Kant is famous for that because he admitted that human epistemology is limited. There is always a gap between epistemology and metaphysics. This is well established by Immanuel Kant. No epistemology can assess the metaphysics. Metaphysics does not mean the beyond of physics. Metaphysics means physics plus non-physics. Metaphysics means the totality. Metaphysics is all-inclusive. And that all-inclusive reality, that all-inclusive personality is the real goal of human life. That we should have an integral personality. We should have a complete personality. We should have a total personality. So when we are speaking of climax of empiricism, David Hume very honestly speaking that don't compromise with philosophy. If you are applying the principle to be is to be perceived, then apply it to matter, to mind, and to God. Even David Hume says, not only in the waking state, even if when we are dreaming, even if when we are sleeping, we have our impressions. We are accumulating impressions in our waking state, in our dream state, and also in our sleeping state. When we are sleeping, we are also getting impressions and we are reacting accordingly. So impressions are always accumulated by us and they are stored in a memory, and because of that memory, we associate the present impressions. So present impressions are associated because of our past memory. I am giving one example. When we mistake a rope as a snake or snake as a rope, what is the problem with us? Why do we mistake a snake as a rope? Why do not we mistake a snake as a building? Mistake is natural. There is mistake in perception. But why do we exactly mistake a snake to a rope? Because rope and snake both are perceived in the past. So in our memory, both snake and rope are very much alive. Therefore, when I see snake, I naturally mistake it to be a rope, not as a train, not as a tree, not as ocean. So snake and rope are alike. They are in my memory. Therefore, when I see snake, I may mistake it as rope. Everybody does not commit that mistake. Many people see snake as a snake, rope as a rope. Some people commit this mistake because of the imposition of their memory. So the imposition of our past memory is the psychological problem. Because of that impression, we give judgments on others. We give judgments on somebody's character. That this man is that man is that, my wife is that, my husband is that, my son is that. These judgments are not real because they are molded by our past memory, past impression, our likes, our dislikes, our fond beliefs, our convictions. So that should be rejected. So Hume is a skeptic in the sense Hume does not want to be dogmatic. This is a dogmatic approach. If you see something and speak something, this is a dogma. However great philosopher you may be, if you see something and you see something and you speak something, that is a dogma. So David Hume does not find any necessary connection between cause and effect. The causal connection, the causal principle is the fundamental principle of science. But science also admits that everything is probable. Science also says that the relation between cause and effect also hypothetical. Hypothetical in the sense it cannot be predicted. We cannot predict that tomorrow morning sun will rise. Sun will rise tomorrow. The sun will rise tomorrow. There is no guarantee. There is no certainty. Because certainty is only there in mathematics. Tomorrow morning sun will rise. It is not a mathematical certainty. In mathematics we can speak of certainty, but that is useless. So we have discussed that. And if we speak of our empirical experience, we can't have certainty. So certainty is nowhere. If certainty is there in mathematics, it is useless. There is no claim of certainty in our empirical experience. So certainty is nowhere. Then what is with us? Now we have with us only the probability. Everything is probable. Because everything is a flux. Everything is a flow. It is a flow only. And we mistake the flow as a concrete reality, as a substance. And this is a psychological problem. So association and the law of association is a psychological problem. That something takes place prior to something takes place after something, and because they take place in this way, there must be a necessary connection between them. So in Naya system, we speak of Vyapti. That means the relation between smoke and fire. There is a necessary connection between smoke and fire. And on that ground, we are speaking of the inference. And also in deduction also, we are taking the help of middle term, which makes a necessary connection between major premise and minor premise, and we have the conclusion. But the relation between any empirical dialectics is not, it cannot be necessary. Whether we speak of smoke and fire, whether you speak of anything, wherever we try to connect the relation of causal relation, that is only human imagination. So this is only human imagination. So the fundamental claim of David Hume is that we should believe in the discrete sensations. Our sensations are discrete. Our moods are discrete. Ideas are not associated by itself. We are associating them, and that is the crisis of human being. All the philosophical systems and all the misunderstandings have been developed because of such associations. So there are two human possibilities, human inquiries. One is the relation between ideas and the matter of fact. David Hume suggests that we should go with the matter of fact. What is the matter of fact with us? I am giving an example. And we all know that. We all follow the philosophy of David Hume. We all know that we are very gentle. When there is a mobile talk between two friends or two colleagues, you can observe. A philosopher should observe everything. It is not necessary to speak. It is not necessary that you should teach others. Let us observe everything, as Socrates was doing. Observe everything, how your colleague is talking with you over phone. How they talk. They talk less. Observe the mood. How to talk, how much to talk, what to talk. All these things, they are very much careful because they fear the mood of the listener, and they don't want to be upset. They don't want to create a bad ambience. So what does it mean? It means that we can't have a fixed mood. We can't have a fixed response. Therefore, when a phone calls come to me, everybody asks me the same question. Sir, are you free now? Can I talk with you? Sir, are you busy? What does it mean? That means remaining busy or whether in which mood I am, that cannot be predicted, and nobody wants to disturb others. That means everything is discrete. Two discrete moments are making compromise. All the moments. Whenever we are dealing with people, we are making relationship. Entire relationship is a compromise. Only compromise. Even between husband and wife. Even between two friends. Moods are not same. We can't take the relation as granted, because nothing is universal, nothing is general. This is the fact. How can we establish this scientifically? In science also, Now come to the point, very important example I am giving, that suppose for a disease the doctor prescribes a medicine, but the medicine, the relation between the medicine and the cure of the disease, we think that there is a causal relation between the medicine and the cure of the disease. So this medicine is prescribed means this can heal your disease, but it varies. Therefore, doctor says, you take this medicine, but you will meet me after 5 days. That means doctor has a doubt whether this will work or not. You will come after 7 days. I shall re-examine you. If it will not work, I shall give you another medicine. So the medicine is for that disease, but no doctor can give guarantee that it will necessarily heal your disease. So you will meet me. There will be no fees. You will meet me again. So the medicine and the disease, there is no necessary connection, because there are so many factors. In Bhagavad Gita, we exactly say that in Swadharma or the contextuality. So there is no fundamentalism, there is no absolutism. There are only contexts. Our morality is also based upon context. Wow. What is my duty? How can I say that my action is good? It is only dependent upon a particular time, particular space, and with a particular person. By that, we can say that our action is good or bad. That means we don't believe in fundamentalism, absolutism. We should believe in contextualism. The medicine is contextual, the prescription is contextual, all the causal necessities, regularities are contextual only. So there is only a flux, and we are mistaking the flux as a substance, as a totality, as the fundamental reality. So David Hume very honestly claims that if you are applying the principle to be is to be perceived, apply it very honestly. So now the question I shall take only 2-3 minutes, whether David Hume is a skeptic or not. The claim of skepticism. David Hume is, as we were discussing, whether Berkeley was an idealist or not, was a solipsist or not. We had discussed that from the epistemological point of view, Berkeley was a solipsist, but from the spiritualistic standpoint view, as he believed in the existence of the divine mind, he is not a solipsist. Similarly, David Hume is a skeptic in one sense, and David Hume is not a skeptic in another sense. David Hume is not a skeptic because David Hume believes in the possibility of mathematical knowledge. David Hume believes in the certainty of mathematical knowledge. David Hume says that knowledge is possible through mathematics and geometry and logic. So that knowledge David Hume does not reject, but he says that they are not objective. So in that sense, David Hume is not a skeptic, but David Hume is a skeptic because David Hume did not give any scope, any room for rational thinking and empirical way of knowing. He closed that door. Therefore, David Hume is a skeptic. We shall discuss detail in the next session. So the next session's topic will be no matter, no soul, no God. This is the topic for next session. In that, we shall discuss how matter is reputed, soul is reputed, and God is reputed, and what is the view of David Hume regarding religion, regarding society, regarding morality. We shall discuss in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your yet another nice lecture. Well, you took on the problems, the deficiencies, the shortcomings that were there in Berkeley to the fullest extent in David Hume, who tried to apply the subjective idealist position that Berkeley started to not only matter but also to mind and God. So it's an advancement because Berkeley somehow lost the ground which he created in order to justify theological stand, in order to support spirituality. But as you said, David Hume did not commit this mistake. Rather, he tried to apply the SES principii to not only matter but also to mind and God. So that's how it's an advancement over Berkeley. And being a strict empiricist, David Hume tried to make a distinction between the relationship between ideas and the matters of fact. Now, because of the claims of empiricism, he was trying to see a sort of concern for the facts around. The relationship of ideas he is not that concerned about. So that's why, as you also said, he did not reject mathematics, but he did not take them to the fullest of account to justify the empirical standpoint. This is the reason why he denied any sort of uniformity, and even the relation of causation or the causal relation, that also he turned down to be of a universal sort. We'll talk of law of universal causation, we talk of law of uniformity of nature, which do serve as the grounds of induction or inductive knowledge, but even he discarded both this. So in that sense, if we look into David Hume, he was an empiricist in the strictest of senses. That's why he came out to a position of accepting only a sort of probable knowledge. So no knowledge is certain. That's why some do claim that Berkeley is a skeptic, because the ultimacy of knowledge is not possible from the standpoint of David Hume. Well, this is the general structure that you talked of. Well, during the course of your lecture, you talked of that man carries on or goes on with different moods, different mindsets at different points of time. Now, taking that into account, Shravani Mr. Madam C took a query that if we, because we cannot study the entire personality of a man, it is very difficult on our part to judge a person. So how to take that issue? Is it that we look into, well, you when talk of the contextualism from the Bhagavad Gita standpoint, when you talk of contextualism, now maybe Shravani Mishra Madam too wants to make a poser in that light. Well, we cannot know the entire personality of any person. Maybe we have to take the mood, we have to take the present situation, and we have got to synthesize the personality in order and understand the current mood in order to go up with any sort of judging a person. How do you see this?
Beautiful question. Actually, this is really a very beautiful question. She is asking the question that if we cannot predict the personality of a person, and we cannot take the personality of somebody to be granted, then should we test him? We can't test him all the time.
Suppose I am going to I am behaving in a particular way. So should we test our husband, our wife, or our children all the time? The point is that David Hume claims, understand the reality of human personality. Don't take it in the don't behave in reality with an ideal imagination that he should be like this, my husband should be like this, my wife should be like this. You don't expect that he or she, the other is mentally ready to respond with me in this way. No, that is the crisis. That is the problem of a human relationship. We expect a particular response from others according to our requirement. That is problem. So what is the solution? The solution is your practical knowledge that, as David Hume says, if I am an animal, if I have anger, if I have hunger, I have greed, I have jealousy. Similarly, such qualities are very much natural with my husband, with my wife, and with my friends. Because such qualities are experienced in me. I don't borrow, I don't don't know it from others. I experience these qualities in me. If these qualities are with me, so these qualities are also with others. Number one. Number two, we have to believe that mind is not constant. Mind is always changing. So if my mind is changing, my husband's mind must be changing. So now, in a particular moment, in which mood he is? I am telling this is a very beautiful question. I am telling you one thing. Suppose your son is out. That is a mistake. You are ready to ask the question about the reason why you are out. And the moment he reached home, out of your preparation, you asked that question. That is a very wrong parenting. No. Because you don't know what happened to your son and what is the real reason of his getting late. He might have faced some accident. He might have faced some problems. In which mood he is, out of your preparation, out of your anger, you don't do that action. That means you will be ever ready to change yourself according to the availability of the situation. I am ready in this way. But I am ready to cancel it. I am ready to withdraw that preparation. No. I was ready to speak, to ask, but I will not ask because the situation varies. Another example I am giving, I always tell everybody, don't discuss, don't ask, don't interact about any problem when you are dining, when you are eating. This is a crisis. Wait. If your husband is coming from outside, don't ask him anything. Give him a glass of water. Give him a seat to sit. Then wait for a right mood to ask your question. Even if he has committed a mistake, even if he has come late, at that time don't ask, and at the time of eating don't ask. This is very bad. Okay, so we are not going to test any personality. Therefore I said, and David Hume is also insisting very confidently that a philosopher should observe the personality of a person very minutely, very discreetly. If you really love somebody, then take that person bit by bit, not as a totality. That this is my husband, he should love me. He should love me at any cost. No, he has also a mind. He has also some tension. He has come from outside. He has many problems to solve. So I should wait for a right moment. Okay, this is the social crisis. So therefore David Hume said, don't become ideal. Adarshavadi huani. Don't become ideal. Be real. Be real. That is the point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. Well, David Hume is a strong supporter of probability, and this has taken inroads into man's personality too. So, as Professor Das says, that there is no celerity in personality too. You cannot say personality. You cannot say that one's personality is fixed for all time, because moods are changing.
Yes.
Be a personality of such sort, but you cannot expect the same thing at every moment. If somebody is sleepy and you want to, when Professor Das is feeling slow, sleepy, and you want him to lecture, that's not possible. So, depending upon the mood, as David Hume too supports, that everything goes in it is changing, it is a flux, like in the Buddhist theory of momentariness, somehow it coincides. So you have to take the moods, you have to take the circumstances into account, and it's then taking everything into account, you have to go forward. So that's how we can have a better world, a better interaction, a better moment for both the opposite parties.
Better relationship too.
Better relationship would be assured. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir. Even that is required in college, in works, when in our work fields. If somebody is the principal of a college, if somebody is the officer in charge in one office, he should behave with his staff members by this way. That because I am the officer, I shall no dictatorship. Okay, we should. If I am really a king, if I am really an administrator, I should observe that I should observe the mood of my staff, and that is the real skill of management. Otherwise, we are failure. Nobody will obey you. Even the father will not be obeyed in family. Nobody will obey you, because relationship is made upon compromise. Strong rationalism. Therefore, Kant's categorical imperative was criticized with rigorism. Don't be rigorous. Don't be so strict. Flexibility is the real personality. Be flexible. Accepts others. We shall discuss very beautiful things in the next session. David Hume speaks of sympathy. What is sympathy? We shall discuss in the next session. I request all of you, please attend the next session. Thank you, sir. Next Saturday, we shall have next session.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Well, the take from your responses, one should understand the mood. When in a wrong mood, well, you talked of the head of the family. When the opposite party is in a wrong mood, the head of the family should avoid that moment to get back, to see the opposite party to be in the right mood, to give the work or to give an assignment. So so that would be a better stance for better communication and better understanding.
Sir, I shall add one thing, sir. I shall add one thing.
Yes, sir.
Exactly, Lord Krishna did that in the battlefield because Arjuna was not in the mood for fighting. He was confused. So Lord Krishna explained him 18 chapters to get his mood back so that he will be ready to fight. And very interestingly, after all teaching, all counseling, Lord Krishna asked Arjuna that I have explained you everything, but you exercise your free will to accept me or not to accept me. You do according to your conscience. See, what a great example. Arjuna was not ready to fight. Arjuna was confused. Arjuna was insisting wisdom that please explain me why should I fight? Should I fight against my teachers, my brothers, my parents? So Lord Krishna tried to explain the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga. 18 chapters ended only to wait for the right mood for fighting. So don't insist your children that to study in the study hour. Not necessary. If it is necessary, but don't have a compromising mood with your kids. If not now, then okay, he will read after half an hour, after 1 hour. What great things will take place? No problem. So that is how we can make a healthy relation and we can have better productivity. That is my response. So Bhagavad Gita is the best example. Thank you.
Yes, a very good example indeed. As we all know that Arjuna was a very good fighter, a great fighter indeed. But he was not in a mood in the battlefield to fight against his own relatives, against his own teachers. He was not in a mood, which Professor Das was trying to point out. But once the mood was revived, when he came back to normalcy, then he was all in a free mood to fight against without thinking of who are there in the opposition. So the mood is so important. So very nicely said, and very good example that you have taken to justify a stand. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I don't see any question in the chat box. If somebody has any question, they may raise, they may unmute. I'll wait for half a minute. If anybody wants to say something, well, right, the good things have been discussed, and the example that Professor Das took at the end from Bhagavad Gita, that is a clear indicator that one's mood needs to be right to carry on the action right. In a wrong mood, in no mood, well, the action performed will also be not bearing a right result. So mood is also so important. One cannot have, or one's personality cannot be tested to be same in all the instances, in all the circumstances. The moods vary, and we need to focus on the mood. Thank you. Very, very good take from this response, sir. Thank you. Well, I don't see anybody unmuting, or I don't find any other question in the chat box. Well, thank you so much, sir, for your nice lecture. Well, I should thank you now. I'll thank the participants. Well, before that, I would like to welcome Swarnalata Tripathi Madam to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you. Namaskar to all. Today we discussed a beautiful topic, climax of empiricism and claim of skepticism. Pramod sir delivered this talk and explained very nicely about the ultimate impact of empirical epistemology and limit of metaphysical imaginations. We are all grateful to him for his wisdom and deliberation. We are really grateful to Dr. K. Om Narayan Rao sir for his encouragement and assistance in conducting such webinars. His ways of coordination and moderation are highly appreciated across the country. He is an iconic example of a brilliant moderator who has moderated more than 200 webinars during last 2 years. Wisdom Forum and Philosophy family are grateful to Dr. Rao sir. In spite of his election duty, he is with us, which is really a great inspiration for all of us. I shall request him, if possible, kindly try to remain present tomorrow in the webinar program of Philosophy family. We are grateful to all the participants for being with us in these sessions, and I request you all attend webinar program tomorrow in Philosophy family. Thank you all. Pranam. Over to Dr. Rao sir.
Thank you so much, madam, for your kind words. Thanks a lot for this, and also thank you for being connected with Philosophy family through your forum of Wisdom Intellectual Forum. So you are the bridge between Wisdom Forum and Philosophy family now, and you are the personality behind the successful conduct of all these webinars. So thanks a lot. Well, tomorrow, due to election duty, maybe I don't know what would be the mood tomorrow, as Professor Das was trying to point out, because election duty, when it comes, well, you have to be very much prepared. I don't know, but still, as per your request, I'll try to attend, but I'm not sure. It all depends upon the mood, my preparedness tomorrow. Well, thank you so much, madam, for your request. Well, I'll try my best to attend. So, by thanking all the participants, the speaker, Swarnalata Tripathi madam, now it was a beautiful lecture. Now, we'll all look forward for the coming Saturday lecture. Thank you so much. Thank you all participants, Rabani Misra madam, for the very nice questions, and also thank new participants today. Well, I see somebody, Sudhir Kumar Jha, maybe from Bihar, I think so, I don't know, and many others, new faces. Welcome. Parveen, Faujia Parveen, a new face today. Well, many other new faces today will be welcome, and I think they will remain connected in this webinar series. So thanking everybody, I now declare this webinar closed. Thank you all.